everyone. Welcome to Wax Pack Wisdom, where we talk baseball and football and basketball history through card breaks and the cards we love. My name is Jake T. O'Donnell. The NBA season is tipping off this week, the week that we're posting this video, the 2023-2024 NBA season. So we figured this would be a great time to do our first basketball card break on this channel. And we're really happy to do it as part of 1989 week with this pack of 1989, need the point in there, 1989 NBA hoops. So let's open this up. There are some interesting possibilities in here. Michael Jordan All-Star card, also his regular card in there. There is a short print David Robinson rookie card that's a possibility in this, as well as Larry Bird, Steve Kerr's rookie card. So let's see what we get. My basketball knowledge, I like to think that I know what I'm talking about. We'll see if there's any interesting names in here. And then the first card is one of the greatest players of all time in Moses Malone. How about that? Moses Malone, who passed away not that long ago, just a phenomenal rebounder, maybe the greatest. If you're talking about who in the NBA was the best at the individual skill of rebounding, Moses Malone might be the greatest of all time. There's good competition. Bill Russell made an art form out of it, and same thing with, and there are a lot of other great rebounders as well through the years. Charles Barkley, the round mound of rebound himself. But Moses Malone, as good as they come. So many great years with the Hawks, as well as with the 76ers early in his career, with Houston as well. He played at, I believe it was the University of Virginia, and then later played, he was drafted in the ABA. Actually, he started in the ABA. He was I think one of the really big stars that kind of moved over from the ABA to the NBA in the 70s. But anyway, that's a great pull for the first card, is Moses Malone. Again, one of probably the 20 best players ever, right there in that first card. So there you go. John Long is the next card. This is during the outstanding era for the Detroit Pistons. They were in the NBA Finals, sort of at the end of the sort of long Celtics dynasty. The Pistons go to the finals. They lose, I believe, one year to the Lakers, and then the next year they win. And then they're kind of that interregnum between the great Bird Celtics and then the Jordan Bulls. And John Long's part of that, I think, was sort of a backup to Isiah Thomas and those guys. So anyway, there's Trent Tucker, who is another one of the great players. I actually not sure why I said that. I don't know really anything about Trent Tucker. This is, I think, the Knicks are kind of in between eras. It's kind of interesting picture here. He did something with his finger there, but anyway, Trent Tucker. But I was somewhat distracted because the next player is one of the great players. Another one of the great players. I just talked about the Bad Boy Pistons, Isiah Thomas, the engine of the Bad Boy Pistons, who just, I think that there's been a lot of things that have happened with Isiah Thomas since his playing career ended that have sort of tainted the way people feel about him. But go back and watch any of those old videos from the 80s, early 90s. Isiah Thomas was as good as there's ever been a point guard in the NBA. His court vision, his ability to always find the open guy, just an incredible floor general for those Pistons teams, with the likes of Bill Laimbeer and Rick Mahorn and the other guys who were in the Dennis Rodman, John Sally. He was the engine of all of it. He was the best player clearly on those teams. So that's a nice Isiah Thomas pull there. So that's another great Hall of Famer. I don't really know a lot about some of these other players. You notice one thing here that is noticed here is an expansion team, 1989-90, Otis Smith, because this would be the Magic were in it. I think that's on the wrapper here. You notice, look for Orlando and Minnesota expansion teams plus trades randomly packed, and that's so this would be the beginning of the Orlando Magic. Of course, a couple years later they draft Shaquille O'Neal. Here's a guy who you don't really want this name if you're a basketball player. Frank Brickowski. And I'm sorry, like this. So this guy is built. He's jacked, clearly, but he kind of looks like how a lot of basketball players looked in the late 80s, early 90s, if we were being completely honest. I mean, these are the guys that Michael Jordan feasted on. I know that this has been a long discussion about the type of caliber of players that Michael Jordan went up against versus a guy like LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James never went up against a guy named Frank Brickowski. But for all I know, Frank Brickowski could have been a really good player, and I don't really mean to denigrate him. But anyway, we have another Hall of Famer coming up next. That is John Stockton, and that's his All-Star Game card. The All-Star Game, it looks like that year, was in Houston, and John Stockton, one of the greatest point guards ever, for sure, and just some amazing finds, amazing finds in this pack so far. But Stockton with Karl Malone, one of the greatest tandems of pick and roll, just amazing stuff. So great, that's a great card. Dave Hoppin is next. Dave Hoppin, I don't really know anything about him. He was hopping to the basket, I guess, maybe at certain points. Del Harris is next. Coach for many years in the NBA, coached other teams. I think he was the Lakers assistant coach and then also was a Lakers head coach briefly, but Del Harris was a coach in the NBA for a long time. Next up, Patrick Ewing, another Hall of Famer. That's 4 Hall of Famers already in this pack of 1989 NBA hoops. Some really good finds here. Ewing, who grew up in Cambridge, Massachusetts area, went to Cambridge Ringen Latin High School, made his way eventually to Georgetown, and then the NBA many years with the Knicks. Eventually he was a coach, but fantastic rebounder, fantastic outside. He was a really good outside shooter too. Just a dynamic center and one of the best of his era, no question about that. All right, I'm going to kind of fly through some of the guys who I don't really know anything about. Marlon Wiley, again, another Magic card, 1989. Then Harold Presley, don't really know anything about him. Kings, I love those old Kings jerseys. I wish they wore those more if they could, or work them into their sort of alternate uniforms. Here's a name that you've heard of. Another Hall of Famer, another all-time great, Earvin Magic Johnson. This would be near the end of his career before he unfortunately retired after he contracted the HIV virus. But he was still in 1989. He's about 10 years into his career at this point. Again, we're talking about probably two of the greatest point guards of all time, with Isiah Thomas and Earvin Magic Johnson. And Magic is the Lakers. He still is the Lakers, in my opinion. And I have one of his rookie cards. I actually pulled a rookie card of his out of a pack on my Instagram channel earlier in 2023, out of a pack of 80 to 81 tops. It's not the famous one with Bird and Magic and Julius Erving, but it's a really good card. So there's Magic. This is not really the greatest picture of Magic, I'm not going to lie. Next is Mark Eaton. I don't really know anything about him. Last card here is a well-known name, well-remembered name, Ralph Sampson. Very tall, huge. This would be sort of end of his career. He kind of was a great player for a few years, dealt with some injuries, and then really flamed out. But mid-'80s with the Houston team that they went up against the Celtics in '86 in the finals and lost. But he was a critical part of those teams. And again, humongous, like 7'3", 7'4", like just massive dude. And anyway, but a great player and a memorable player. But wow, so this was a heck of a pack for our first. It's going to be hard to top this in the future, but look at these Hall of Famers: Earvin Magic Johnson, Isiah Thomas, Patrick Ewing, John Stockton, Moses Malone. We're going to finish up. Which is the best card of this group, don't you think? I'm going to say Moses. Rest in power to Moses. And the rest of these guys can kind of just hang out in front or hang out to the side here. But that is going to do it for this edition of Wax Pack Wisdom. Tell us what you thought about this break. What's your favorite card we pulled today? Do you have a story about one of the players in this pack? Leave us a comment and let us know. We'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our Wax Pack Wisdom content. In the video description, you can find links to where you can follow Wax Pack Wisdom on all social media channels. You'll also find a link to a list of our favorite nonprofits and charities. If you enjoyed this video, please consider a donation to one of those organizations. It would mean a lot to us. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Wax Pack Wisdom. Take care.